July is shaping up to be a huge month for movies this year at the box office, with Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four all being released within just weeks of each other. And naturally, you're going to have people speculating online and debating amongst themselves on which movie will ultimately come out on top, particularly in regards to Superman and Fantastic Four, because they come from DC and Marvel, where Marvel has been struggling at the box office these last couple of years, besides a few victories. So a lot of people are wondering if this is going to be the movie that kind of gets them out of their slump. And DC hasn't really gotten off the ground in any meaningful manner, which is why the studio brought in James Gunn in order to try to revitalize everything. And this Superman movie is supposed to be their first big attempt at doing all that. So there's going to be that back and forth debate between the various fan groups on which movie that they want to win and which movie they think is going to win. But one person who is trying to stay away from all that is James Gunn himself, which he said recently that he wants basically both sides just to get along. James Gunn breaks silence on Superman and Fantastic Four Rivalry this July, with new movies from both DC and Marvel on the way soon. DC's top executive put his foot down on the Rivalry, and obviously James Gunn has a history with both studios. He's now heading DC. He used to do work for Marvel, so which is a large contributor as to why he's working at DC currently, but he doesn't want to burn bridges with his old studio, and he wants to kind of I wouldn't say be above everything, but he just kind of wants to maintain a sense of neutrality when it comes to this battle, so to speak, between the two studios. With Marvel and DC both set to release new movies this summer, Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps, lead DC executive James Gunn addresses rivalry between the two blockbusters. The MCU looks to get back to the success it saw in years past, while Gunn is ready to introduce fans to a new DC saga, pitting the two as potential powerhouses alongside one another. DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn responded to a fan asking about any possible rivalry between Marvel Studios and DC Studios ahead of the release of Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps. Both films are set to be released in theaters 2 weeks apart, and with Gunn's ties to two comic book movie giants, his thoughts on the competition hold plenty of weight. And obviously people are going to take what he says into consideration when it comes to all this. But ultimately there is going to be one movie that comes out on top. Which movie, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Replying to the fan on Threads asking for his thoughts on the movies being pitted against each other, Gunn exclaimed, "There's room for us both." The Superman director expressed the love he has for his Marvel family, wanting to focus on all the positivity around the films rather than getting engrossed in the Marvel DC rivalry. Well, I mean, the Marvel DC rivalry is not anything new, especially when you go back to comic books. This kind of thing has been going on for decades, and it's actually completely normal, and I would even argue is healthy amongst nerd culture to have these kind of rivalries and discussions surrounding both sides, which one you think is better, which one you think will do better than the other one, sort of thing. I mean, this is where things actually should be, just kind of going back to classic debate of which is better, Marvel versus DC. They come out 2 weeks after us. There's room for us both. I love my friends at Marvel. You can find whatever discussions you'd want to find online. I'd focus on all the positivity around the films instead of getting sucked up in online fan wars. I mean, I kind of disagree with that. I actually like a lot of the online fan wars sort of stuff, or at least that's the kind of stuff I think is kind of interesting. But the whole idea, though, that there's plenty of room for us to go around is like, well, maybe. I mean, saying that it's releasing 2 weeks after us, it's like, well, to me that suggests that he thinks his movie only has the staying power of 2 weeks, and I'm hoping that he doesn't actually think that, or maybe he's hoping that it'll probably be better off than that, because with the reported budget of Superman, 2 weeks is not enough to probably make their money back at the box office. So they need to have a little bit more staying power. And even if there's people who can go see both movies and like both movies, let's just be honest, one movie is going to siphon off some of the business of the other movies. Which one that'll be remains to be seen. Obviously, Superman has a little bit of a head start, so they can get the majority of their bag before Fantastic Four comes out. But if there's a little bit of staying power to Superman, if the movie turns out to be really good and audiences like it, then that could take away some of the enthusiasm for Fantastic Four, or at least it could take away some of their business, because people might be willing to give that one a shot after a few weeks as opposed to Fantastic Four. Also, some people might just be holding off until the end of the month to wait and see which one am I going to go watch in theaters. If there's good word of mouth for Superman, bad word of mouth for Fantastic Four, then maybe Superman will get the money, and vice versa too, just depending on how things shape up. Gunn is now more than 2 years into his tenure as DC Studios co-CEO, taking the job following his work on the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1 for Warner Brothers. He is also a household name in this genre after a success he found directing and writing the Guardians of the Galaxy movie trilogy for the MCU, which included the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney+. Now, along with his job as DC's top executive, he is the writer and director of Superman, the DCU's first theatrical movie starring David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult. Okay, so just the stuff that you would expect from all of this sort of thing. You know, I can understand from James Gunn's perspective why he would basically try not to throw fuel on the fire, because obviously he would want his movie to be the more successful one. Maybe he'd still be happy for Marvel if it turns out their movie ends up beating his out, just so long as his movie is also successful. But if his movie loses a lot of money and he loses a lot of his power over at DC because the Fantastic Four took away a lot of their business, then he might say he's happy publicly, but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be too happy about that behind the scenes. But this to me just seems like someone just playing the politics within Hollywood. He's not trying to burn any bridges. I mean, you see this happen time and time again. They have to at least act like they're happy for the other one. And, you know, for all that, I mean, I can understand that, and I can appreciate him just trying to calm everything down. Just like, because ultimately, if you think about it, this is just about movies. It's a form of entertainment. It's not really anything to take too seriously. Both studios are going to put out their respective movies, and then the audience will decide which one that they prefer. I think there is going to be a clear winner of all this. I just don't know which movie that is going to be, because right now, Superman, it's projected to have a pretty solid opening for the budget that it had. Meanwhile, we're hearing rumors about Fantastic Four where the test screenings aren't necessarily that great. I did a video yesterday talking about this particular subject. I don't necessarily think that means the Fantastic Four is going to be a terrible movie. There's a lot of other factors to go and play there, but it's not necessarily a good sign, as in like what we're seeing coming out of Superman right now. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see which movie in this summer's release turns out to be the one that comes out on top. But personally, I think when it comes to July, the one that I would actually like to see out of these three, Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four, I think Jurassic Park's the one that I'd be more interested in watching compared to those other two. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see which movie turns out to be the better one out of the bunch. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think Jurassic World will be the one that takes the throne for July's releases, or do you think it'll be Superman or maybe even Fantastic Four? Comment below, and also if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.